Gentlemen and comedians, welcome to another exciting episode of FlappCast, Behind the Funny, where we talk to comedians and find out what goes on behind the scenes at a comedy club. I am Barbara Holliday, along with my co-host,
Depressed.
Joshua Snyder, the virgin, nerdy virgin.
That's the depressed.
Yes, that is the depressed part. And our amazing headliner, who will be here at Flappers Burbank this weekend, Cash Levy.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a dream come true for me to kind of get behind the laughter, or even underneath it.
Yes, it is
or
exciting.
Next to it. I just like to be near it in some capacity.
I like to look at it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Feeling the laughter.
You ever juggle it? You kind of juggle it up
Juggle
and down?
the laughter? I try to.
Perfect.
Yeah, play cards with it. Whatever I have to do.
So, we were just talking about your name, Levy, Cash Levy, not to be confused with levy as in, water, of kind, right? Right. And wait, Cash is a great
Wait a
name.
minute, we're not talking about bridges today?
No, levies, Cash Levy.
That's a whole different podcast.
A cash levy would be like a stream full of cash. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Is that why you have
I actually was in a band. I sang in a band called Cash and the Bad Checks.
No.
Seriously.
No, you could not.
That's how corny I am.
What was your sound?
It was just didn't sound that good, really. No, I was a singer. I do a lot of falsetto,
Oh, like? Let's hear it.
Taking it to the trees, taking it to the trees. Little Michael McDonald, Doobie Brothers.
Is your real name Cash? Or
it's a nickname.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's your real name?
I can't. That's too personal for. Yeah, it's a little too personal for a podcast.
Digging deep.
There's a lot of you're digging deep, and I'm just trying to stop you from probing so deeply. You've watched Barbara Walters. You got to ease into questions like that. Let's talk about my sexuality first.
Okay.
And then later, try to get the real name.
Married?
I'm married.
Oh.
Yeah.
With
I'm
kids?
Married. I like how you immediately went straight to the gay card. Gay from San Francisco? I think so.
It was the falsetto.
Yeah.
Threw me off.
I'm married. I have 2 kids.
Oh, wow.
And
ages?
One is 3.5, and the other's about 8 months.
Oh, that's right, a new one.
Yeah, pretty close to new. And what I try to do with the kids is just not. It's tough. I don't want my wife to trust me too much, because then I'd have to really contribute a lot. So what I do is, if I give the kids back, I always make sure I make some kind of mistake, so that she doesn't think I'm too competent. The diapers on backwards, or maybe. I don't know, there'll be like a drink ticket from a horse track in their bib or something. You gotta have something where you threw it off a little bit.
Right,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah. I like having kids, though. It's good. It's a good experience.
So far. You're only a couple years
in.
Until they hate you.
Are they 2 boys, boy, girl?
2 boys.
2 boys. Okay.
2 boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Poor wife.
Yeah. She works really hard, But my theory is, they're not going to remember any of this anyway. You don't remember any of what happens before the age of, say, 5. So I'm not going to really help too much the first 5 years. I'm going to let her burn herself out, and then about year 5, I'm just going to swoop in and just super dad, and then they will love me more than her.
And what are the kids' names?
it's an 18-year marathon, and my wife is really shooting her wad at the starting line. I'm going to pace myself, and then later be a great dad. Because I want them to love me the most. Their names are Chance and Win. I'm serious. I know. That wasn't supposed to be funny.
Are these nicknames?
No, these are real names.
These are real names.
Yeah.
Come on now.
My wife, in seriousness, the Chance thing, apparently when I first got the nickname Cash in college, I was playing baseball in college, and somebody said, what would you name your kid? And I was like, I wish my nickname would have been Chance, not Cash. And so he reminded me of that when Chance was about to be born. And then we just had to stick with the card theme. And we all have different names that have second meanings in our family. My wife's name is April, which is also a month. I don't know if you've heard. And then my cat is named Tide, like the ocean tides. or the detergent, or my cat. So we have Tide, and then we have Chance and Win. Win is spelled W-Y-N.
Oh, not N-Y-G-Y.
No, and it means dear friend. Yeah, it means dear friend.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, so
For now.
so it's for and it seems like a nice kid, so we're gonna keep him.
And what are their middle names?
Chance's middle name. This is interesting. I knew that Chance. I was really worried, and you know what? It's already happened. There's a rapper named Chance, isn't there?
Oh, someone famous named
You're
Chance.
asking the wrong guy.
I was worried that it's such a unique name. He wouldn't be able to be president, or because you think maybe you want to give him that shot. So I was really worried, so I decided I wanted to really give him a lot of options. So I wanted a good abbreviation, so I put Jordan in the middle. So that's Chance Jordan. So that's CJ. It sets up a CJ.
Okay.
CJ, that's good if you want to be a fisherman or a trucker or maybe a country western singer. And then Chance if you want to be, say, an actor or a comedian.
Or a card player.
Right.
I was thinking.
But
Well,
my
CJ would also work, I think, one of the 5 members of a boy band, I think, to be a CJ.
Okay, yeah, that might be true. And then here's the thing. Apparently I had promised my wife's parents that we would use her maiden name as the middle name. So her maiden name is Hall. And so now I've got this problem. Where do I put the Hall? Well, I figured, Jordan Hall. So that's the third name. So it's Chance Jordan Hall Levy. And so if he wants to be like, if he's on the run, trouble with the law, Jordan Hall. If he wants to be President, Jordan. Or he could just go Chance Levy. So he can. I packed the chute. Wynn doesn't have those kind of options. His middle name is Ellis. No reason whatsoever.
I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah, no
with
reason.
a 10-foot pole.
But the pregnancies are really. Have you given birth ever?
I've had some bad. I don't want. You know what? I'm not gonna.
It's a very difficult thing. My wife gave birth to both of my children, and it's and I did get in the spirit of things. I had an epidural, but it's really a pretty crazy thing. Do you have any kids?
No.
No. Okay.
Beagles. I have 2 beagles. That's
Beagles.
enough. Yes.
I think it's interesting when people compare those two. Like, I don't know, no, beagle, same thing.
I didn't need an epidural for my beagles.
Yeah. I'm so glad what you didn't just do. Because these days it seems like everyone that has a beagle or any kind of, it's a rescue dog. Like everyone's always doing that. It's like, you didn't pull that dog out of a burning building. Like you didn't really rescue it.
Right.
Let's be real. And if you did rescue it, you basically picked out the cutest dog at the pound. You left a lot of dogs behind.
Oh,
so right?
Yes.
So like the people that say they rescued a dog, that's a little rich, don't you think? So yeah, I'm glad you didn't say that. Is it a service dog? That's another thing I'm seeing a lot of. Service dogs.
No, but they service. I mean, they service me, I guess, in a sense.
Wait a second. Whoa.
Well, I don't mean it like that. Come on.
I thought this was supposed to be a clean podcast.
I mean, they give me love.
Well, there was that one time
I know
they
you
ate
said.
a pot brownie, right?
Oh, yes, let's not discuss that.
Did you feed them pot brownies?
No, I did not feed my dog. Oh my God, must we get into this? William, don't leave. I did just break my ankle, and I did have a 420 candy bar that someone gave to me. And yes, my dog Penny did get a hold of it.
Really?
And ate more of it than I did.
Well,
yes.
how did it affect him?
Actually, believe it or not, a lot of people think that it's very dangerous, but it's not. It's the chocolate that's actually dangerous.
Chocolate's no good for
And
dogs.
it happened to be milk chocolate, not dark chocolate.
Right.
So everything was good, and the dog had such a great time.
How bad?
Yeah, she has been asking for more.
That's so interesting. You get your dog stoned.
Yeah, well, we called Colorado, and they said it was fine.
Yeah.
So, whoa, I got a semi-laugh on that. Actually, it really is okay. So I did have to steer that down. But what about your kids? You giving them pot candy bars?
No, there's no pot. I do worry because my son's always like, Dada, let's get dizzy. He just wants to get dizzy.
Oh,
where we like just go around spinning. And I feel like that's a gateway activity. I don't know, next thing he's going to want to go on the teeter-totter, and then, I don't know what would be the heroine of outdoor, what would be like the heroine, what would be the most scary?
Rock climbing, I think, right?
They have rock climbing walls in the... play areas now?
They do, actually. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
you can just climb up those little handles and
Well, at the mall, I
freak
saw
your parents
something
out.
where they hook you up in that like a bungee cord thing, and you're jumping, going up and down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in any event, I think it's great. You have 2 dogs.
Yes, but we're talking about you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm used to, I have a podcast too, so I'm used to like interviewing.
Oh, yes, you're turning the table, and you work with TJ Miller.
Right. It's the podcast. The theme is that I have a podcast, and every week my guest cancels, and TJ fills in.
God.
So we've done almost 100 episodes together now, and I'm used to sort of asking questions. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to be the guest. This is great for me.
Yes, yes.
This is great.
We are talking about your family and everything, but we did a little research and found out you were a theater major.
I was.
Right? So you had plans to be a big actor, yeah?
I don't know. I think I gave up those plans pretty early when they started saying things like, we don't think you're leading material. Or, we think you'd be a good character actor, which is like, you'll have 3 lines. And I think even by the time I left college, I thought I'd be doing stand-up pretty much. Because, I kind of experimented with it a couple times in college and thought it was a lot of fun. And I just liked the autonomy of it. The theater thing, you end up, you've so many other people affecting the final product. It's just kind of fun with stand-up to kind of sink or swim yourself.
And how did you end up on Fox Sports? What's that about?
I did some sports radio around the country when I was starting to do stand-up, and that was a way where I could help draw more people into my shows, because I've always been a sports fan. And then they put me on Fox Sports, and I did this commentary called Cash's Corner, where I would kind of joke about whatever was happening that week in sports, and that was kind of cool. But Fox doesn't like to pay anything, so that became a kind of an issue.
Really?
Yeah, eventually. I think they thought it was like a fun, go on TV, and that's good for you type thing. That's fine for a while, but they paid a little bit, but it just wasn't quite what you'd hope for after a while.
Well, how did you stumble into stand-up, or when did you decide?
Yeah, I just, right out of college, I just had pretty much decided I was going to do it. I started in San Francisco, and, like anybody else, just did a ton of open mics, and quit my day job pretty early, just because I was like, I'm just going to commit so much to this. And I think that's one thing that sometimes people do it sort of as a hobby for a while, and they have their job at the factory, in the coal mine, and it's hard to do both, working in the coal mine and also doing stand-up. That's such a bad analogy. I was thinking like a tech firm, but instead I said coal mine, But you kind of have to commit, and I really enjoyed it. I think I decided early on. I have a hobby my entire life of sneaking into things. I've snuck into hundreds of concerts and sporting events. I'm actually finishing a book about it called No Ticket Required. It's I've snuck into Super Bowls and NBA Finals. It's been a hobby of mine my whole life. And one of my first sneak-ins was I snuck into this place called The Other Cafe in San Francisco. And Jerry Seinfeld was performing. That was the first show I ever saw. And we just snuck in through the kitchen area. And I remember thinking, God, that would be really fun. So it's been a good ride. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Huh. And have you ever been kicked out? I mean, have you ever been caught?
The only time you always have excuses in your head if you get caught. So I've never been caught where anything happened except in Spain at the Expo. I did get put in jail there. That's
just a little thing.
Just for the night. But I've never been caught in the States where I've done anything other than say, hey, I thought the ATM was back here. Or I thought this was where the will call window was. You always have something in your head.
Oh, you're one of those.
So it's a bit devious.
Yeah.
It's a hobby, and there's a whole underground society of people that do this.
Really?
Yeah, my first Super Bowl, I snuck in. There was a guy that had snuck into every Super Bowl. He was like 65 years old. He went into the Superdome in a laundry cart. I mean, he was really good, and that's where we learned, like, there's a lot of people that do this, just as a hobby. Often I will just sneak in and then leave the event. I don't even stay. It's not about the actual event. It's about the kind of the fun, the thrill of the chase.
How has that changed? What with
9/11 and...
I stopped after 9/11 for like 2 or 3 years because I was, but eventually it's kind of addictive, you know.
Mm.
And it's a great thing to do with the family. I mean, my wife comes with me. When my wife was pregnant, we really were able to. That's a great decoy right there too.
Look at her.
Yeah.
Right? Are you going to teach your kids these techniques?
Well,
I feel like you could teach Win, but maybe not Chance. I don't know. Like with a name like Win.
Oh, with a name?
Yeah.
They're like,
Chance.
hey, you, get out of here. What's your name? Chance?
yeah.
Any chance you'll let me in?
Well, no, in that case, you would use Jordan.
Oh,
That's,
right,
it's
right.
Todd, it's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
it's
Connie.
Jordan.
Good job. Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's been a great thing, and again, I'm finishing a book about it. People seem to have some interest in the topic. And,
Yes, I'm interested.
there's hundreds of different ways to do it. None of them are ever anything to do. I hate it when people come up there like, because I talk about it on my podcast sometimes. They're like, "Oh, do you ever wear a fake badge?" Or no, I'm not a prop act. I don't have. I'm a purist. You show up at the event and you figure out how to get in. You don't show up with a costume, or then you're an imposter.
Right.
And I don't show up with a suit and a special lanyard, or I don't have photocopies of the layout of the blueprint of the stadium. You just show up. I mean, last week, week and a half ago, I did the Eagles, and that was a great one.
You
it was
got
really
into
fun.
the
Yeah,
Eagles
the Eagles was
concert?
good. That was a brand new. They've just refurbished that arena there, which has made it more difficult.
So wait, you like sit in someone's seat.
No, that's the thing.
Okay.
Seats wise,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's not so hard. People are like, how do you get seats? First of all, there's seats that just don't get sold at certain concerts and sporting events. And there's also, for whatever reason, people just don't show up. And so you do find a row of 6 seats, and you always, when you sit down in 2 seats, you know that if you get booted, okay, I'm going to go there next. And you just keep getting booted until eventually you're just not booted. Somebody didn't show up. And
Wow.
it does work. And I think the best seats I've ever had were at concerts where I didn't, pay to go.
I mean, I have been at a concert that I paid for tickets and seen available seats and
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah,
Like sometimes
it's not a
no one
problem.
even.
And a lot of these
says
sneak-ins, some of them involve climbing or crawling, or we dug our way into Springsteen, that kind of thing. But I mean, a lot of them involve a lot of
Me,
like
this
really.
was your wife
Me,
too?
no,
Oh.
that was one of my best friends.
Oh,
But
okay.
What can you go into detail about how the whole? Was this like a Great Escape kind of thing?
that was in an amphitheater, and any outdoor arena is going to be a real weak. It's not as hard. Outdoor arenas are more physical sneak-ins, where you're going over a wall or into the crew area, or this sort of thing. And indoor sneak-ins are often more about confidence and smiling at someone and nodding and continuing to walk. And having them have the feeling of, well, I guess that guy knows what... Like a VIP entrance is the weakness of any facility. Because they think, well, I don't want to stop this VIP. He walked in with confidence.
Actually, I can tell you, even at our own box office, that the
Yeah.
general mentality of someone working at a door, they want to do the right thing, and they don't know sometimes who is who, and so they don't want to insult someone who might be someone big. And if
And that's
you
true.
act
Yeah, the
big,
first day of any season is always a good day, too, for that same reason.
Crazy.
The new employees don't want to, screw up their jobs and stop someone and embarrass themselves.
Right.
So if you show enough confidence, that's one way to do it. But it's been a good. So I've got this book I'm working on.
I love
and,
it. I can't
I've
wait
got,
to read it.
I've really not based very much stand-up on this because the crowd isn't sure I'm joking or not. It's almost a serious topic for me since I've kind of done it a lot.
Right, and it's a
Yeah.
little bit, like a crime,
Oh, yeah, that
Nor
part.
I imagine
I mean,
would you want
so-
to, nor would you want to encourage your fans to
You
sneak
would,
in.
you're right. You would want to encourage things like that, and also, it would be a crime if, again, I often don't even stay, but I know what you're saying. The morality of it is a bit tricky for me because I'm actually a really honest person, so it is a bit tricky. But I started when I was so young, and I do have a skill for it.
I gotta
so.
tell you, it sounds like a great reality show to me.
Well, people have filmed. I've had people film it, and I felt like I was turning this thing that I find to be fun into a job, and I didn't want to. So the books, I think, as far as I'm
It's
go with
really
it.
a hobby for you.
Yeah, it's just a fun
It's like-
hobby sometimes,
Yeah.
just to see if I can.
Well, you really test your acting chops,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
So do you have
Improvisation.
dreams to get on the big screen or
To
stand up?
act?
Yeah.
I wouldn't turn down acting, but that muscle probably isn't as strong as just continue to do stand-up, maybe do more hosting type stuff. I have a show that's in the works. I'm not supposed to say too much about it. Of course, you know, I'm sure people come on and say that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Rhymes
it's hosting a
with?
show that I find it's hosting a show that I think would be an interesting thing for people to watch, and it would use my improvisational skills. My main thing as a stand-up is my improv.
Right, you mess with the crowd a lot.
I do. I kind of go in and out, and I have kind of a unique style. I think where I'm usually a lot of times the joke is on me a little bit. There's a bit of a fish out of water element. I think what's interesting about stand-up is you end up just kind of evolving into being whatever you're going to be, and you didn't really control it after a while. You just sort of evolved, and I think the improvisation, it's almost Darwinism at a certain point. You know, stand-up. You see people who sort of superimpose a hook on their show, and it seems a bit contrived. Like, I'm going to be the guy with the weird hat guy, you know, and if they just happen to ease into it, where they happen to like to wear a weird hat sometimes, you can tell it's more natural. With the improvisation, I just would go on the road a lot early on, and you know, at a certain point, some of my jokes weren't working as well in like the Deep South or something, but I wanted to be able to succeed in those markets also. I didn't want to be a guy that could only play 2 cities or 3 cities. So instead of writing jokes, you know, specifically for them, I just started making stuff up in those cities, and then that kind of grew.
How do you feel about, like, a lot of comics will say that that's not real stand-up, you know, or when you mess with the crowd a lot, like, you know, we've had Jimmy Brogan on here, and he's one of the masters of this, you know?
Well, I think there's that criticism, I think, is often based on people that are making most of it look improvisational, but it's not. They have a set sort of a ripping on someone line. And I think that makes the rest of the improvisers maybe look bad, because, you know, I've seen Jimmy, and if you've seen me, it's not, my thing is not to make anybody feel bad and just rip on someone's shirt, or have a set line about someone's, how stupid their shorts look, or whatever. So that's a different type of thing where they're making it look improvisational, but it's not. So I understand why there's some criticism there. Secondarily, the criticism of stand-ups that do a lot of improv, comics like to, I think it's interesting, comics like to criticize each other a lot.
Yeah, they do.
And it really bothers me, because it's actors we should be critical of. I mean, what we're doing is so much harder than, it's I don't know why comics, there's so much infighting and so much comics disliking each other for different things they're doing on stage, and I think we should support each other more, because what we're doing as stand-ups is so difficult and so much scarier than reading somebody else's line and pretending, which is what an actor does. And for some reason, we don't use our hatred towards them, and I think we should.
I agree. I agree. But do you like when an opener before you messes with the crowd, or do you prefer to keep that for your headline section?
I don't care a ton whether the guy before me does it, as long as he leaves me some areas to go into, I mean, I guess. And also, I don't like the critical, that's the thing, I don't really love the critical improv where you're making someone feel bad. I know that maybe Don Rickles was great at it. There have been guys great at that particular style. I don't want the crowd to be scared of me to talk to them. They're not going to end up feeling like a fool. I end up being a little bit of the guy that was confused.
So is that your spin on it? Like
I think
when you're
so.
on
If I were to
stage?
analyze it
Yeah.
afterwards, I haven't if I were to, I didn't purposefully try to do it that way, but like I said, it may have evolved into that a little bit. But it's not something where someone would feel like, God, that guy embarrassed me in front of my family. It's more like, oh, everyone laughed because of this hobby I have, but the comedian was confused about it, or
Right.
or misunderstood what my real hobby is.
Well, you've done a lot of fundraisers and shows here,
Yeah.
and people are always coming up, who is that guy? Who is that guy? I mean, they love you. And this is our first time we've actually been lucky enough to get you to headline here this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's a good show too. Steve Maison's going to be on the show,
Headliner.
and he's done Letterman. He snuck into the Eagles with me. He does
he's
a lot of
the
those.
one.
He does a lot of those. Jay Montepar, who's really funny, and he's a funny actor, so we'll try not to tell him about this.
Podcast.
He's a good stand-up too, but we won't tell them about how I said we should save our hatred for actors. I do like actors, don't get me wrong, just to clarify, it's not that I dislike actors. I'm just saying, we're so critical of each other. It's such a hard job. Why would we be critical of a guy that, say, is it cheating to be a guy that plays guitar on stage and gets laughs? Why is that cheating?
Yeah,
That's just,
it's getting
I
laughs.
can't play guitar. All that does is add 2 skills that, you know, stand up and get, I don't see why people are so critical, and I think it's just, it's a small world and people are very critical and compete with each other, and
Right.
it makes them feel better to put down every different style that doesn't adhere to their own. So.
Well, we're very supportive here at
You are,
Flappers,
yeah.
Especially amongst the comic community. In fact, we're going to get to that in a few minutes, too. We're going to
Yeah.
bring on some comics and
Yeah.
hopefully give them some ideas. And
Yeah.
we always say, if it works for you, then it works. You know,
Right. There are no absolutes.
Yeah, there are techniques and things you can learn, but I mean, what's funny is funny. And, you know, sometimes people are doing all kinds of, you have to take the risk to find out what's funny for you.
Absolutely, and it takes, I thought it was so funny. I remember in the first year, I remember I had a set of 5 minutes. It did pretty well, and I remember this guy who was sort of an elder statesman that was sort of advising me a little bit, just kind of giving me advice when I needed it. And I was like, I'm gonna perform. I'm gonna go audition for this TV show. I'm gonna try to get on it. And he was like, Cash, you know, those jokes are fine, but you're not gonna be doing those jokes 5 years from now. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's impossible. These jokes are classics. You know, like, you don't even think you'd evolve into something else, but people say you don't find your voice for 10 years.
That's right.
And,
it does
and
take
to
a
some
long time.
extent, all these overnight sensations, you know, they've always been around for quite a while. I mean, it's so interesting that the general public will be like, yeah, where'd they find that guy? Well, no, he had been honing his skills for 15 years.
Right. How long
Yeah.
have you been doing stand-up now?
God, like 18 years.
Yeah.
You know, I remember doing a show with Lewis Black once, and he was like, he's like, you know, I didn't get my first TV spot for like 12 years, and they were all like, what are you doing differently? You know, I mean, this is great stuff. What did you change? He's like, I didn't change anything. You just noticed. You know? Like, this is what I've been doing. So, you know, so in any event, it's been a good ride. The thing about doing stand-up, though, is this is a real roller coaster, and so you have to kind of not get too high. It's like sports, really. Can't get too high when it's going really well and great things are happening, and you can't get too low when you feel like not much is happening.
You just have to keep sneaking in.
Yeah, you just have to keep trying. Yeah, that's right. There's a real there is a similarity to it. Yeah.
Well, that must, I mean, you hone your improv skills with your little hobby, too. What's your writing process? I mean, do you actually write down your jokes? I mean, since you have so many you have so much improvisation in your show.
Right.
Do you record? What do you do?
All I do is just, when I say something funny to a friend, where I made my friend laugh or someone in my family, whatever, I just try to jot down what I said. And then I just take that on stage, that line or that idea, and then I try to make it up from there. I try not to, I'm not real good at making, and that's partially why the improvisation, it seems a bit stifling when you write it down on a piece of paper and you memorize it. It seems like that's the other reason I enjoy doing the improvisation is I do enjoy watching a show that I feel is different every show. And, you know, there are performers that are more comfortable doing the same jokes in the same order for long
Not
periods
you.
of time. And I kind of like mixing it up and not being sure what's going to happen, you know. So that's exciting for me, too.
And an audience.
Can you speak a little bit about, because I've seen a lot of other comedians have to deal with this, the difference between, you know, performing live and then preparing for and performing on something like Letterman or...
Yeah, the TV sets, most of us don't enjoy the TV sets. I mean, the TV sets I've done, preparing for them, you really feel like you're in a straitjacket. You're preparing this tight 5-minute thing with no extra fat and no exposition. Just really, you're cutting everything down. Usually you're taking 10, 15 minutes of material, you're cutting it down to 4.5. You're cutting out every extra word. And it's hard for it not to be wooden. You fight for it not to be. But I don't think most people enjoy running TV sets. It's work. It really is. It's so much more fun to just go up. And you know what? Sometimes you'll stick a TV set in the middle of your headlining set, and the crowd just senses, like, even, and then you lose confidence in that set. I used to, like, run a TV, if I was about to do a TV set, like, you know, like a Ferguson set or something, I would put it in the middle of my headlining set, and it was just like, you'd feel this, just the bottom would fall out, then you'd go back up when you were real again. They just sense that you're doing a skating routine.
Yeah.
It's really not meant for TV to some
There's
extent.
nothing like live comedy.
Yeah.
It's never going away, I promise.
Yeah.
No, TV is just a teaser.
It is.
know?
And so often somebody will be like, one of my friends from high school will be like, I saw so-and-so on Letterman. I didn't like that at all. I'll be like, well, I didn't think he's that funny. He'd be like, don't judge him by this. Don't judge him. He had his hands tied behind his back. I mean, don't judge him by the show where they have all these restrictions on things. And you know,
Seems like a situation where the really tight writers, like for instance Seinfeld, would do better in that situation.
some people are built for it.
Yeah.
No
And
doubt
you,
about
you
it.
cannot improvise on TV.
No.
Ever. They know exactly what you're going to say. They have a lot of money on the line, so they do. It's like
Right.
that. It's like performing with your hands tied behind
and
your back.
even that's my hour special. I shot myself and sold afterwards to HDNet, and I had about half of it as improv. But partially the reason why I wanted to shoot it and do it this way was because everyone I talked to said, if you want to do we'd consider you for an hour if you want to do just a straight hour of just material. We don't want to do any improv. And that's kind of not really I didn't feel like that would separate me.
Stick to your guns.
Yeah,
you
it
can
was,
sell it yourself.
Yeah, I actually sold it to Mark Cuban of the Mavericks.
Oh, awesome.
It was really cool.
How did you do that? A friend?
I didn't even know him at all.
He snuck
I
in
actually
to
did
one
a
of the
corporate.
Snuck in.
I did a corporate show and got his information. I sent him the video or the video. It sounded like I sent him the VHS copy cassette tape,
Beta?
the beta tape. I sent him the Laserdisc copy of my comedy special. Within a day, we were going back and forth. It was very cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Shark Tank, so
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
a great way to learn how to pitch yourself, actually.
yeah.
Well, that's so great. And then
he aired it on his network, and he sent me a nice letter, and it's a great experience. It's been really great,
And
it's the most improvisational special that I think has ever been out there, just because most people don't do that.
yeah,
Because most networks
it's too risky.
don't encourage it.
Right.
Like, well, how are we going to pay for your special if we don't know what you're going to do?
Yeah. Well, I think that's changing, hopefully, with all the new ability to create your own content and
Yeah,
getting it.
absolutely.
I mean, TV itself is dying, I think. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And some people,
to
in
see where it
fairness,
goes.
think it doesn't translate. I don't even, doesn't translate to see someone do improvisation on television. And that may or may not be true, but that's what I do, so that's what I was going to do.
Well, you are going to be here all weekend
Yeah,
doing
I'll
it
be
at
probably-
Flappers Burbank. So
Yes.
if you're listening or fans,
You need to come out, yeah. You need to come out to the show. Don't sneak in. We have special guards. in
But
the
if
place.
you want to sneak in, I can tell you how to do it. Right, Ken?
Right.
All right, I'm not
Right.
saying it on the air though.
That's right.
Well, we have your knowledge and expertise here. We would
Okay.
love it if you would give some of that to some comics who came out today. This is our segment we call Punch It Up. And we ask some new faces to come on and do 3 minutes for us, and
Okay,
then ask
yeah.
you to give them some feedback, maybe some
Yeah.
tags, some joke ideas. Joshua Snyder has booked a few comics for us today. Who do we have?
All right, guys, give a warm round of applause for Rachel Mack.
Woo! Rachel. All right, Rachel, coming to the stage.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I am Rachel. I'm a Christian. Cool, right? I do love Jesus, but lately I feel like I've been doing kind of a bad job of being a Christian. I used to be a lot more zealous. In high school, they called me Chastity Belt, or they called me Rachel McCuckoo for Christianity. Did not lie or cheat or cuss. I was the one who started campaigning for creationism to be taught in science classes. So I wouldn't say I was popular, But people definitely knew who I was, and my dedication to the Lord was never questioned. However, lately, I feel like I've been pushing the limits of grace. I haven't been doing anything technically wrong. Like, I wouldn't get drunk and drive, but I have gotten tipsy and ridden my bicycle. I'm just getting kind of edgy. I've seen Blue Valentine. I have not lost my vaginal virginity, but I have been finger banged. Now, that's not in the Bible. It's not one of the big 10 commandments, like thou shalt not be finger fucked. However, I think that if God and I were to sit down and have a convo, he'd be like, honey, wait for marriage. Or just don't do it. It's not that fun. It's kind of like trying to get a tampon in when you're drunk. It's just like a lot of poking and not a lot of pleasure. More illustrations about my lack of shining for Jesus. I work at a bakery, and on Christmas Eve, people would come in and want pies. And I had to be like, I'm sorry, you can only have a pie if you pre-ordered one. And I was just doing my job, but I kind of liked saying no to them. Like, it gave me pleasure to bring them pastry-related pain. The phone would ring, and I would rush to answer it because I knew they were calling for gingerbread men. And I wanted to be like, no, we're out of those tasty little treats. You're going to have to go without this Christmas. A woman came in and wanted chocolate cherry bread, and I had to be like, I'm sorry, ma'am, we're out. And she was like, but I drove a long way. And I said, well, unfortunately, we don't have a reserve of bread for people who put 30 miles on their car. And then she said, this is ruining my Christmas. And I said, maybe next year plan ahead better or learn how to make your own bread. And then she started crying, and I liked it.
All right, Rachel. Will you grab that microphone and come on over and
sit down with you?
us?
Yes, that would be
Have
lovely.
a seat on our couch.
Thank you. Whoa.
Thank you so much. Great job, Rachel.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing comedy?
It'll be a year in April.
Oh, wow. Great character for a year. My goodness.
Yeah,
Cash,
but
do you
is
want-
that a character? Is that
It's
sort of
kind
real?
of me
Yeah.
that I'm trying to, that is a character.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's
Thank
good.
you.
It's really good. That was really funny, and I didn't see that coming at all. The way you opened, and then it just, that was great. I think, what if you were to change the order of the final piece and closed with the finger banging thing, so that you saved the shock to the end?
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think?
Not a bad suggestion.
'Cause I think
because
it's all
was-
good.
It was very shocking.
I just mean in that
when you said-
particular chunk.
Yeah. It could be fun later on.
Well, it's stunning, and it's so funny because but you're backing the religious sarcastic thing after it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if you maybe it'd be more shocking if you did it. I don't know. I liked it the way it was too, though, being kind of wishy-washy. I liked it.
Yeah.
And you really, very consistent with your voice, which is pretty crazy. All the stuff I said where it takes 10 years to find your voice, I think you proved me wrong.
Oh,
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
great.
that's really good stuff. It's very consistent.
yeah, I have one note about. I also agree, and that's what I said. I loved your voice right away, and you're committed to it. My only question is, what is your view now about religion? I was a little.
Oh, yeah.
So I got totally into your past, and I understand all that. But then obviously when you said finger banging, maybe it gave me some idea. But I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
And I have maybe a tag or a callback in the bakery when, if you're going to do it on the clothes, is when you tell the woman what to do. Maybe you could say you should pray to Jesus or something, some callback.
Like Jesus is Jesus, that is Christmas.
Right.
Like, he still was born, regardless of your bread situation.
What was the tampon line? I thought that was funny. What was it? I can't remember it.
Oh, finger banging is like
tampon.
trying to get a tampon in when you're drunk.
When you're drunk. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I thought
Do
it
you
was...
guys know what that means?
No, I know what tampons are. Yeah.
Putting it in though? I mean, that's
Well-
kind of a dramatic, like that's more of a, I don't know, it's a little, I don't like the tampon jokes, but that's just me.
I don't like wearing them.
Right,
Yeah,
there
it's
you go.
not comfortable.
So, see, your opinion on it is funnier than I think the actual act of it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, I love your point of view. That's where that's your money right there. I mean, that's like your special, unique, and different. It's really cool. So what does Rachel think about this? What does Rachel think about that? How does Rachel feel about God now? As long as he was a gingerbread man, you'd eat him up right up. I don't know.
Tasty.
Yeah, but that was my big note for you. Was just
Okay.
I'm curious. I think that led my mind to wander a little bit about what your stance is now.
I'm still figuring it out.
Oh, good.
It's good. It's good. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot.
You're a standout.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, thank you.
Keep doing what you're
I
doing.
can't wait to see you in front of more than 4 people.
Yeah, don't let anyone tell you not to change your voice. Like keep your voice. If it is your voice, it is you. Don't change. Don't try and change for thinking about opportunities or things like that. Just keep doing what you're doing, and they will come to you. I really enjoyed you. I'm going to shut up
Yes,
now. Josh,
very nice.
Love it, Chris.
Yeah, and like I said, just a few maybe tags or things here and there like that, and keep working it out. Thank you
Appreciate it.
so
Thank you
much
so much.
for
Really
joining
appreciate
us
it.
today.
Yeah.
Rachel McCuckoo or whatever.
I go by Rachel Mack, but
Oh, awesome.
All right.
Who's next?
Guys, keep it going for May as well.
All right, May. May as well.
Hey everybody. So I was sleep driving the other night. Well, I'm not sure I was sleep driving or dreaming that I was sleep driving or sleep driving while dreaming that I was sleep driving. But anyway, I got so flustered I had to pull over. Okay, so I was texting. Anyway, that is the last time I smoke an Ambien, aspartame, and GMO corn leaf before bedtime. That is not good stuff, I tell you. So anyway, what do you think? Middle age, right? Yeah? 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 My mantra is, it could always be worse. It could always be worse. It could always be worse. But the upside is that, well, you know, I look a whole lot cuter in a diaper now than I did when I was a baby. Well, body image is kind of a tough thing, though. Yeah, I mean, they've got these mannequins that have these big, plasticky fake tits, just like the real big, plasticky fake tits, and, you know, I don't know how a woman's supposed to compete with that. But, and I'll admit it, I have to heal my relationship with my own ass. Yeah, I'm a little obsessed, I admit. I mean, I go, and I'm the first one in line to get into the department store in the morning so I can rush to the dressing room and focus and fixate in the badly lit three-way dressing room mirror. I mean, I just get into the psychology of every lump, every bump, every dimple, every pimple, every ill-advised tattoo. God, I really don't know what I was thinking, putting Hello Kitty next to Abraham Lincoln, when really it should have been Benjamin Franklin, but I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, and, well, you know, I had to, well, let's just say that when Google Earth came out, I took my laptop out into the backyard and discovered that, yes, my ass does look fat from outer space. And I realized I had to get a good 12-step program going, so I Googled Assaholics Anonymous. And, well, I didn't find what I was looking for, but I found a few pages that I bookmarked for later use. But, yeah, so, yeah. So, just by a show of hands, how many men out there with man titties? You got some man titties out there? Yeah. Well, I want you to be proud, okay? I do not want you to be ashamed. I do not want you to cave to the societal pressures to get them surgically enhanced, okay? Because I want to tell you that more than a mouthful of man titty is wasted. Okay? All right. I could go on, or I could...
Awesome! Hey, thank you so much.
Shall I booty pop? Okay, thank you.
All right, come on over and say hello. Thank you so much.
Woo,
All right,
thank
May.
you, yeah.
So how long have you been doing comedy, May?
Well, I have been an actor for longer than some people have been, gleams in the eyes of Woody Allen, but,
So you're old.
no, I'm middle-aged.
But comedy specifically.
Stand-up comedy specifically, I've kind of gone back and forth. I started doing that maybe like 10 years ago, but I tell you, I've never had stage fright except for stand-up. And it's the same thing too. It's like I kind of get doing the same material over and over again. No. I don't know, it's just weird. I just feel like I'm not being genuine, which is strange, but then I started incorporating just a loose improvisational what the fuck feel to it, and sometimes it works.
Well, I don't think that came through at all, that you were nervous in any way. I think you looked confident,
Thank you.
So that was good. And also I think it was good that you pretty much had a topic that was fairly similar the whole time in terms of looks and visual stuff. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Sort of, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
The self-deprecation for you, you're almost too confident to pull it off.
Okay.
And I don't say that in a mean way. It's a compliment to some extent. You're delivering some, and then when you put yourself down, which you didn't do a ton, but I'm just saying, like, it to some extent, it's a harder sell when you really seem like you're, pretty confident too.
Well, the way you were just talking to us right now when I asked you how long you were doing comedy, your demeanor was much different than when you were performing. So that was basically the majority of my notes, is that it's hard to see your honesty in there. And like I wrote down, how do you really feel about being in a diaper? I mean, your joke was, okay, I look kind of cute. Right, but I mean, seriously, because comedy really comes from the complaint, right? Okay. Not necessarily that you're, the happiness. It's about, like, do you really look better in a diaper, or you are not happy that you now have to wear a diaper? So I'm just looking for your opinion on it more than, performance-wise, yeah, you're an actress, I get that, that's great. Stand-up is definitely a different kind of medium. Yeah. Where, unless you're doing a one-person show, or something like that, where that type of performance element works really well. I do have a couple ideas, though, like when you're talking about the sleep driving, maybe the joke is that I got so flustered, I can't remember how you set it up, but something like, I just got so tired, I had to pull over, but you're sleep driving. Mm-hmm. So, there's something maybe there. But you said flustered. I just got so flustered, and I was like, no, I was sleep driving, and I got so tired, I had to pull over, or I don't know. My eye mask was over my face.
I wanted to explore the sleep texting. I thought that was a funny idea.
Yeah.
If you were to text while you were sleeping, what would you text?
Take it one step further. Yeah.
How do you spell that? That's funny, though.
Do you snore, Barbara?
I do not. My dog does, though. My dog does. Yes. That is
your
great.
Your non-rescue dog. But I think
Never heard that before.
Yeah, I think there's stuff to work with there. I definitely think you should keep going with this and keep doing it. It's gonna, like I said. Oh, did you have more?
Just one other big sort of note, like how you said how many men have man titties. Be careful about questions unless you really want to know the answer, but it's a little more direct if you just say how you feel about man titties.
Okay.
Like, I just say I love man titties. Okay. You're gonna get a laugh on that direct statement versus how many man titties are in there. Well, first of all, no one's gonna answer you on that question.
You're right.
Yeah,
no problem. I felt reluctant to
raise
answer
your hand.
So I wasn't sure, yeah.
But don't be afraid to, especially women do this a lot. I think women tend to like back up, ask for permission, or, you know, instead of just stating what they're trying to say. And you basically are saying you love man titties, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most women probably don't like them, but I love them. I mean, I don't know what your statement is on it, but that's what I kind of got. So,
yeah. No, that's good too, because it really is kind of I'm straddling between different genres of performance and my own confidence and
Yeah.
so
don't be
it's all good
afraid
to me. Yeah.
to say what you think. That's, I think,
Yeah.
the key to stand-up is just giving us what does May think about man titties, right? And let us know, and don't apologize for it. It's okay.
No apologies.
You can say whatever you want. That's the great thing about stand-up.
Okay.
Josh?
Yeah. One other thing I thought was good is you seem to smile enough during the. Sometimes it seems like people don't look like they're enjoying themselves and they
Right.
don't smile ever. Now I understand we're not supposed to laugh at our own jokes, but at the same time I think it's good that once in a while you smiled and it makes us feel comfortable. So I thought that was another thing you can build on.
Good. Thank you.
Joshua Snyder?
Because I come from a theater background too, and I think that helps you in some ways, and then I think it hurts you in other ways.
Yeah.
The way that it helps, I think, is that you're comfortable on stage, or you can get past that. But the way that it hurts is that you are presenting instead of being.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
and I think that the thing that really helped me is to stand up is not a performance for you. That's what you need to say. I am not performing.
Yeah.
I'm just talking with people.
Yeah.
And it should be the same energy as when you're just talking with people in a room. And
And that's enough.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I think it's also some aspect of it is likely figuring, oh, I've got 3 minutes and I've got to get this into the 3 minutes. And yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
it's treat it literally.
That's
yeah.
what we're talking about with TV sets. That's the challenge. It's really hard to get that essence and conversational tone in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge of stand-up, the short sets.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't enjoy short sets that much. Because it's harder. It's so much easier when you have 45 minutes to be more
Establish
conversational
yourself.
and to establish your tone. So yeah, that is hard. That's part of the challenge. Yeah.
But thank you, May.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
great
Thank you.
having you. I hope
Yay.
it was helpful for you.
Oh, definitely. Thank
And
you.
we'll see you around Flappers for sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, May. All right, Josh.
All right.
We got time for one more.
Yes, time for one more. Lily Gatika.
Lily Gatika. Hi, Lily. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I've recently had a realization, and that's when a man is attracted to me, his type is usually children. I'm okay with that. In the beginning, I was a little scared. I wondered, should I report this? But I understand I'm quite tiny, and yet nobody can quite put me in a category. I'm too tall to be a gymnast and too short to be taken as an adult. And there's a reason for that. I've never looked the age I've ever been. I'm 26 and people think I'm 13. And when I was 13, people thought I was 7. And when I was 7, people thought I was a zygote. So that was pretty confusing because I didn't know what a zygote was when I was 7. There's definitely pros and cons to looking this young. When I'm on a date with a guy and I don't like the way it's going, I can always scream, "Daddy!" But the con is that when a guy tries to pick me up at a bar, he automatically thinks he's on an episode of To Catch a Predator, and I'm the decoy. A pro, again, is that I can buy a children's movie ticket. It's cheaper, it's nice. The con is that I've never seen a rated R movie in theaters before. And so also, another thing is that I can go out on children's auditions for roles. And for a short period of time, I was a model, a children's hand model. But you're looking at my hands. And it's true what they say, it's very difficult to be a model. There are a lot of restrictions. I couldn't have my hands in the sun, I had to wear gloves all the time. I couldn't wash dishes, out of the question. and I couldn't get manicures. And when I heard that, I said, I don't care about my career, but I do care about my nails. So it was worth it. I hang out with a lot of gay guys because it makes me look like I'm not dramatic. I would say that I am a fag hag, but that is so 2004. I have my gays, love my gays. They, I don't tag along with them to any more of the nightclubs or gay bars because, well, not that it's not weird, it's kind of weird, but I'm tired of being mistaken for somebody's 13-year-old boy toy. When my hair is pulled back, I certainly look like a teenage boy, to say. But they love coming over to my place. They love, well, I recently discovered why they love coming over. When they're there, their grinder blows up. You know what that is, but it's an app where gay men find other gay men to have sex. So everyone around me wants to have sex, but just not with me. So it's good to know. It's my time.
All right. Thanks, Lily. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello to us. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. How long have you been doing comedy?
Stand-up for about 7 months.
Oh, wow. That's very new.
Yeah, I am. And I did improv for about like 10 years before, but exactly, so I related to a lot, so thank you. Yeah. I just...
Well, I liked how personal it was. You know, that's sometimes hard, where people will be like, commercials are weird, and then they talk about things that are very separate from themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And yours was very like about what's going on with your life, a few things you've noticed. So I thought that was a really positive thing. Right?
Yeah, I thought maybe at the top that joke could be stronger.
I wrote down the children joke. I think if you set it up a tiny bit differently, it gets a bigger laugh. Can you just say the first line again?
I've had a realization.
That line, yeah, you don't need that first line.
It's usually, can I say the joke now?
Yeah.
It's usually when a guy's attracted to me, I usually know what his type is, children.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too long, or...
What about, like, I'm the kind of woman that appeals to pedophiles? Or, you know, something more direct?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a great idea, and
Pause.
it's going to work. It's just a question of how you phrase it. And it's not that it's bad now.
No,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, any suggestion is just to trying to improve something rather than... But yeah,
No, it's true. I've been
it's a
playing
good
around with
line.
it.
It's a good line that just needs... I like the way you said it.
I'm
right
the
there.
kind, and you could even have fun with it, like, you know, hey, I'm the kind of woman that appeals to pedophiles.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Yeah.
so you're leading us
Yeah.
into thinking I am a sexy, hot woman who appeals to men who like children. You know,
Right.
or however you're going to reveal
Yeah.
it.
Right.
I don't think the setup is ever too long on an opening joke. Well, obviously, if it was paragraphs, it would be.
Right.
But as long as you have that laugh at the end, you're going to be fine. So I
Yeah.
think you don't need to worry about the amount of sentences. But I like that idea a lot, and it's going to work. It's
Lead us in that.
Yeah.
Because you're actually quite attractive. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
an ugly being or anything. You're just tiny, you know, which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
and you never said actually how small you were. I think I normally don't say this either, but like because you are drawing so much attention to your size, you might want to actually say I'm 4'4" or 5 or 8 or did I?
You could even say something like, it might be a little deceptive. I'm actually on a stage right now. But, you know, something like that.
Right.
But I'm actually smaller than I appear. If you were to
Objects
stand,
in
yeah.
the mirror maybe
Yeah,
smaller
that
than
way,
they appear.
because it's true. I didn't realize how small you were either. I love the nails line. That's a good line.
Yep.
And I thought the fag hag is 2004. The way that could work is if you thought of something that's 2014. I don't know what it would be, but I think we were waiting for. Really, did you write
I had
that too?
the same line.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
waiting for like it almost was an unfinished punchline like that. Fag hag, that's 2004. 2014, we call it such and such. I don't know what that would
Or
be.
hey, you said you hang around with gay guys because it's not dramatic. Instead, it makes me look, and let's just insert words here. Like, I hang around with gay guys because it makes me look taller. I
Yeah.
hang around with gay guys because it makes me look trendy. I hang around with gay
Right.
guys because it makes me look, you know.
Heterosexual.
Yes.
Yeah,
I hang
so-
around with gay guys because it makes me look lesbian.
Yeah, yeah.
You could almost just
Yeah.
keep playing with those words there until.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. Yeah, that's real close.
Yeah.
It's definitely good.
But-
The only one I would say you went back to the how young you look later, and I think you were already through that topic. So for this particular set,
For the 13-year-old, oh boys, okay.
to marry thing, either put that with the, I think, you'd already gone down that road and you had milked it for what it was going to get. Either put that line, because you went back to it a little bit later towards the end, that topic.
Yeah.
So I think I would either just move that line or not do it, but to do it later was, you'd already done it.
Remember, once you've gotten, we see,
Yeah.
I think the way you organize your set is very important because you are tiny and small. So you got to get that out right away. So all that was great. And I hope we gave you some suggestions on getting to it quicker. But then it's done. We love you, we like you, we're with you. Now we just want to see what's the world like from your point of view. And it doesn't all have to be about you being tiny. It could be how other people see you and treat you, right, as well. So maybe that's, instead of going back to that same joke that you're not tall enough to do this or you're not big enough to do this, how do the gay guys, they love having you around because,
Right.
you make them look important.
Maybe they feel more masculine.
Yes.
Whatever.
You see, maybe give it from something from their perspective, which might help you. And there's so much writing there, but you're on the right track.
Good
and
path, yeah.
Personal is great. Keep it personal. Josh.
Two things. I don't know if you have it already, but the fact that you're wearing high heels, you should make a comment about that. I think there's.
Or you could say these are actually really high heels. These are 2.5 foot pumps or whatever. No,
3 foot.
There's
3 foot
like
heels.
if you take them off, if I take these off,
You won't even see me.
Yeah.
I'll be invisible.
And then my only other thought was I felt that you were kind of sticking to the script a little bit. Like you were that what you were really feeling was not necessarily what was on par with what you were talking about. In other words, long story short, you seem nervous and kind of intimidated.
Okay.
And the thing, what I'm learning about stand-up is that the audience knows what you're feeling.
Gotcha.
And if you don't acknowledge it, it's going to be an elephant in the room. And so even if you start off by saying, I'm really fucking nervous and really fucking intimidated right now, just to say it how you're feeling, I think it would have changed the energy, and I think you would have been able to go into your material and be more connected to that, instead of this kind of, there's a little deer in headlights feeling. I don't know, it was...
That takes a long time to get to that point, to be being really present on stage. That's a hard, I don't even know, years and years, really.
I think this situation, so I'm impressed with all three of you,
it's
is
odd.
a terrifying situation. Just where there's so few of us and we're sitting here in judgment, and it's not really as stand-up was meant to, and I think it's a fun thing, don't get me wrong, but fun for us, but for them, it's terrifying. So it's I think all three of you were really good in not letting it show too much. Could there be? Could you have been a little less? I don't. It's a tough situation though. But I don't know how it would translate. In terms of seeing a lot, for most of us, a bigger crowd makes us feel more confident. So
but I
don't think you'll find a tougher situation.
I think
really.
What Josh was saying though is you have an improv background. Let loose a little, enjoy that,
right?
Because you know how to you if you've done improv, you know how to say a joke. You know when to have a setup and when to have a punchline and when to have a yes and so enjoy that a little bit more, and it helps you look from being regulated. That's all. Whether you are or not, the audience doesn't know. It's only what you're showing them. So you can cheat that a little bit too. There's ways, especially with improv, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I think the cheating it that she did well is true. If you're feeling uncomfortable, sometimes it helps to smile a little bit. It makes it might even psychologically make you feel looser. That's one thing that I'll do. I'm trying to think of other techniques where I'm feeling a little tense.
I don't know. For me, I like to just say it, because if I just call it out, for me,
then it's over. It's like the elephant in the room. Literally, it's like, this is so weird. or I'm about to tell you, like literally calling the truth. I'm so nervous right now. I'm about to tell you all my short jokes that I've ever written in my entire life in 3 minutes. I don't know if this is going to work.
True. I think calling
that's
out
also the
situations.
3-minute thing. I think that's what we're all thinking of. Like, okay, 3 minutes. Are
Yeah.
we going to get a light somewhere? Or is it
Right.
just going to, we decide?
Well, we didn't explain
you know.
it. That would be me didn't explain that clearly, but yeah.
No, that's, I'm not criticizing anything, but you know.
You judge me. Go ahead. You give it to me. Come
But I mean,
on.
even if you start out by saying that, is that we weren't briefed. We were not briefed on this.
How do we do this? Yeah. But you're totally on the right track. I
Thank
thoroughly
you.
enjoyed you. Lily
Yes.
Gatica,
Very good.
please.
Very good.
I hope
Gatica.
more of you.
Excellent.
Gatica.
I know, it's like the movie, but not.
Wow, thank you, Cash. Isn't that crazy?
Thank you for having me. I've never experienced anything like that.
Really?
No, I've never. I've been asked to like judge competitions, or whatever. I've always declined. I didn't know this was happening today.
Oh,
I found it
snuck
I was
you
very
in.
nervous.
Good. Thanks for calling it.
But luckily, they were all really good, and so it was
Yes.
like, okay, this will be okay. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I think you gave him some great suggestions.
Yeah, no, this
Thank you
is
so
really
much.
fun. Thank you for having me on the podcast, and let's come on out this weekend. It's going to be crazy.
Friday and
Lots
Saturday,
of fireworks.
8 and 10.
Play guitar. There's puppets. There's guitars. There's different mimes.
Sit in the front row so
Sit
Cash
front
can
row.
speak
People
with
in
you.
front row get wet. I usually stomp on things. There's a light show, lasers, sound cues. There's a lot.
Very
Magic,
exciting.
hypnotist. It's a lot. There's a lot.
Nudity.
going on.
Nudity as well.
Nudity.
Yes.
Excessive nudity.
Judgment. You can judge
Judgment.
Cash.
There's
yes,
sit in-
it's perfect.
Sit in judgment of me this weekend. It's payback time.
And who do we have in Claremont this weekend?
And Claremont, we
Josh?
have Michael Rayner.
Oh, Michael Rayner was here in Burbank, and now
Yes.
he's moving on to Claremont.
That's
Sometimes we
correct.
do that. Very exciting. Thanks again, Cash.
Thanks for having me.
What's your website
CashLevy.com.
and your podcast?
Cashing in with TJ Miller.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll.
It's on the Nerdist Network.
Ooh, wow. Ours isn't there yet.
Yeah.
But how exciting. Listen to Caster's podcast. And also, please remember, download our new Flap app. It's free for the Android and iPhone. And we put celebrity alerts on there and let you know when people are popping in. We also have deals and discounts on there you can't get anywhere else. So that's the Flap app. Any last words, Josh?
Also in the Yoo-Hoo Room, Gareth Reynolds this weekend.
Oh, yes.
Friday and Saturday.
Very
Friday 9:30,
exciting.
Saturday 7:30 and
Our
9:30.
Yoo-Hoo Room has been jamming, by the way, and just to do a little plugging ourselves, but you never know who's going to be stopping by Flappers, even on a weekend. I mean, Cash knows a lot of great people. I'm not going to say any names, but last weekend, Bill Burr came on Saturday night, stopped in. Billy Gardell's been dropping into the Yoo-Hoo Room. So please come hang out at Flappers. We look forward to seeing you all. Thanks so much for joining us again on the FlappCast, Behind the Funny. I'm Barbara Holliday.
I'm Joshua Snyder.
We'll see you next week.